Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon, and today we're taking a look at the M.20. This is the first impressions of the plane. I was actually gifted this plane by Lewis Litt. Just out of the blue, he said, hey, I really enjoy your work. Here's a bad plane. Much love to him. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to take a look at this plane. I generally don't fly the UK lines, not because they're not good, just because they're a little bit complicated. With an American plane, you can use your energy fight against everybody. With a Russian plane, you can use your turn finding against everybody. With the UK planes, it's a little bit different. You don't have overwhelming turn, you don't have overwhelming airspeed, so you have to look at the guy behind you and say, okay, well, I have higher speed or climb than him, therefore I'm going to outclimb him. Or if you see that you can't outclimb him, then you outturn him. So it's a very good plane, but it definitely takes a lot of experience, and you have to know what you can outturn and what you can outclimb. So the turning radius, time to turn, is 16 seconds to do a 360. That's a pretty good barometer of how well a plane turns. So we're easily able to outturn something like a P-40. Are we able to outturn? So it turns roughly the same as an F4F, and I'm betting it turns slightly worse than one of the Yaks. Yes, so the Yaks and the Japanese planes will absolutely be able to outturn it, even the Yak 7 and the lag. So we know that the Japanese planes can outturn it definitely. The rate of roll 90, so it's not the fastest rolling plane. This is more like a Japanese roll rate. The US planes roll at 120, the Russian planes roll about 130 degrees a second. Controllability, fine. The optimum airspeed is going to be a little bit low at 230. The P-40 I want to say has, and it's somewhat unfair comparing it to the P-40, 343. The P-40 is the fastest plane in tier and definitely goes faster than that. The rate of climb is the natural rate of climb at 15. That's perfectly fine. The firepower on the plane, we're going to take a look at that. And that is, wow, 8 machine guns. You know what that calls for? Incendiary. Absolutely incendiary. We're going to put a pneumatic restarter on it. Do not leave home without this. The pneumatic restarter is excellent. If you lose your engine, it is all over. I'm actually going to put high octane gasoline on it until I learn otherwise. Actually, I've heard with the UK planes they lose their pilot a lot. So we're going to go with kind of a standard layout until I figure this plane out. But with all these small machine guns, I'm pretty sure I can set people on fire constantly, and that's going to be awesome. We're definitely going to put the reflector sight. I have a bunch of extra equipment lying around from the equipment sale. If there's an equipment sale, please buy all that you can. It's going to save you so much money in the future. Alright, we're definitely going to paint it. I'm not going to paint it permanently, but we're going to stick the concealment bonuses on it because, let's put 7 for now. Reducing the view range by 15% is huge in the beginning of the game. It allows you to do some scouting and get back to your friendlies intact. Alright, so the officer training, oh, we got a new pilot too, and he's got there. The first skill that you should almost always get for your fighters is an increased view range. It cannot be overstated how important increased view range is, both at the beginning of the game, seeing enemy deployments and seeing them before they see you, as well as in the late game, finding that one last guy. You know, you have to find that one last GA before supremacy runs out. You really need that increased view range. I think it's absolutely essential on all non-GA aircraft. So the cues are a little bit light this morning. So my first impressions of the plane are that it's going to be against the US and German lines. It's going to be more of a turn fighter. That's going to be my go-to defense. I'll have to see the boost on the plane, but since the Japanese and Russian planes climb so poorly, I'm guessing that I try to outclimb those planes. So you always have to look behind you when you're flying. I'm still going to fly it more or less like an energy fighter. We're in a Tier 7 battle right off the bat. Not the easiest battle. So we have a bunch of bigger Spitfires and 410s. A lot of this we're going to turn fight against a lot of this stuff. I don't see a lot of things that I can energy fight. I don't see anything at all I can energy fight, really. Even something like the A7M is going to be something that goes faster than I do. Take a look at the plane. Alright then. Okay, so 16 seconds of boost is a fair amount of boost right out of the gate, and initial thoughts about climbing, it loses a lot of speed while climbing. I definitely will want to use the high octane fuel. Its cruising speed isn't so bad. In fact, this is not terrible at all. With a straight cruising speed around 400 plus, this is P40 type of cruising speed. Wow, this is not bad at all. Alright, some of our team are saying, hey, come to the left side of the map. That's where the cool kids hang out. So I'm going to follow him. And he is correct. There is just too much. Wow. Okay, so I have an A7M. The roll rate on this is a little bit sluggish. And there's an A7M on me. Let's try climbing, because I'm pretty sure I cannot outturn this guy, except for the fact that he can climb with me. And he goes faster than I do. We're going to try a rolling scissors type of, or a flat scissors type of thing, which is probably not going to work. And I can't outturn him, so he just kind of outdoes me in everything, and I have to sit here and figure out how to live. So you'll notice that I'm just kind of mashing the flaps and moving around, and he's decided to kind of break off into a weird space. There we go. Now we're going to see what the guns do. Guns are... It's difficult to tell since he's a Tier 7 aircraft. Actually, I'm going to try to ram him. There we go. And the reason why I tried to ram him is because I was not going to win that engagement. You could see that he could outclimb me. If he had simply decided to pitch up and fly against me as if he was in a boom and zoom fighter, all he would have to do is gain a little altitude, high yo-yo me, and I was over. Now, do I think he would have figured that out? No, I don't. But you really don't want to leave it up to your opponents like, well, is he going to smarten up or not? I didn't see any way I could get an advantage. The best that I could do there was get into a series of head-ons with him, and he's a Tier 7 plane, non-premium. I know he's going to have better guns than me. Also, he was winning in hit points, so continued head-ons with him is just something I really didn't want to do. Sometimes ramming is the only way out, and it sucks to say that, but you do what you can to win. And so the reality of it is I did trade a Tier 5 fighter for a Tier 7 fighter. That's not the worst thing in the world either. And I also decided on ramming. The thing that kind of sealed it for me was we were up in planes already, so the more planes that leave the field, that's the closer we are to winning. And so there's a couple of GA left. and this fighter in front is just going to go down relatively quickly. So I'm definitely going to put fuel on it, and I'm going to forego the fire extinguishers. I can't remember if it's the UK planes start on fire or they lose their pilots a lot. So the plane makes credits. I mean, 37,000 credits for doing nothing, basically ramming a guy. That's not bad at all. Whoops, we're going to put on accelerate crew training. And we're going to say we want the gasoline. The incendiary ammo just was not that great. Oh, armor-piercing incendiary is ridiculous cheap on this. Why wouldn't I use that? That seems good. See, we're figuring stuff out. Alright, so we get in the queue again. It looks like I'm going to get something like a Tier 5 battle this time, according to the queue numbers. So that'll be a little bit better to judge the flight capabilities of this plane rather than, hey, here's your first battle, you're bottom of the list, go. Alright, I'm going to spend a little more time on the entry screen. So I can outturn the P-40s, just like I figured. Interesting. The Yak 7, come on, there we go. The Yak 7, interesting. I have an airspeed advantage on him, and this is what I thought, like what I said earlier in the video. If I'm up against a Russian plane, I'm probably going to have to climb. The Lag 3 is interestingly close. I'm still going to probably try to outclimb him. FW-190, I knew I would outturn him. That's just pretty standard. The 109E, this is very interesting. I didn't know some of these UK planes have a faster speed than I thought. Wow. On paper, this does not match up as badly as I would have thought. There's probably a trick to it. In general, the UK planes that I've faced, there are some good pilots who really can make these planes work. And my guess is because they energy fight with them and a lot of people don't. And the planes punish you for trying to turn, for example. Let's just try... Oops, that was awful. What I was trying to do was a high bank... Yeah, there we go. Okay, so a banked turn, a tight turn with the flaps out, pitched up. The plane bleeds speed pretty fast. And we're going, okay, so it is a pretty strong boost. And that's one of the things that I've noticed in the past when flying the Focke-Wulf line is how well they can go from kind of a standing stop to full boost. That was not great. It's in the morning. I don't have those quick reflexes yet. Okay. I'm going to wait till this one is out of battle, and then I'll start the video up after that. Alright, let's try this again. I'm determined to have one good game in this thing before I give it up for the day. We are in a Tier 6 game, and we're against P-51s, so I'm going to be out-turning those. The Spitfires are just better copies of me. And obviously, so it looks like I'm going to play, wow, the M.20 as more of a turn fighter than anything else. It's interesting to note that I win the firepower battle head-on with the F4F. Alright, so we're on Bay, and I do have armor-piercing incendiary. I do have the gas, which definitely increases my climb rate. So I'm getting from this plane that it doesn't really climb well. It burns speed in the vertical, but it does have a pretty good horizontal speed, so I'm going to try and stay within my optimum altitude, and I'm going to actually head south a little bit here. I'm going to try to play it as more of a horizontal boom and zoom, try to retain my energy by using the flaps less than I could. Alright, so we have an F4F, or an XF4FU. Kind of a slow, lazy deployment by my team. And it doesn't look like they want to really engage us that much. I'm going to head south a little bit. I don't want to go into this pocket. I don't know what that guy's doing. And just trying to check the minimap. Okay, so the guns have decent heat to them. I can spray for quite a while. They don't have great range. I knew that because they're small caliber. So you really shouldn't open up over 400 yards. Otherwise the guns are just not going to do it. So like most premium planes, it feels a little bit undergunned. That's not that surprising to me. Oops, I don't want to ram. Not again. Not a third game in a row. And we're going to actually steer back a little bit away from the pack. Just because I don't want to get surrounded. But overall, the plane has a pretty good feel to it. What I mean by that is it's very consistent feel. The plane handles like I would expect in a lot of a variety of different positions. I think my initial assumption is correct, this game, of playing it more like a horizontal boom and zoomer than anything else. This guy's a little bit out of my gun range, but he's coming back into gun range, so that was dumb of him. I'm stalling and died to a 410 because I'm not that familiar with this plane. So it does not climb at all. Chasing people into the vertical with it is not what you want to be doing. The horizontal style, which I was doing before, was working fairly well when someone gets within the gun range. The guns are serviceable. I do like... I'm not sure if the fuel makes a difference. I mean, I think it does, and I think it doesn't. And what I mean by that is it doesn't really increase the climbing ability of the plane, and if it doesn't increase the climbing ability of the plane, the boost, even while climbing, the boost was just terrible. So the boost can be used for horizontal speed, not vertical speed, which means I think it doesn't really need fuel. Fuel is always good to have, but in the overall scheme of things, I think it's just not going to be worth it. Let's see if they can finish up this guy. Ram him! Ugh. This is what I don't understand, why people don't ram them in the situation there. It's like, you get a kill, it wins the game quickly and cleanly, no problem. So if you're in this situation where you're up like 3-1 or 4-1, 2-1, ram the guy. Why not? No reason. Not that that guy could come back from this situation, but it's possible. I've made some miraculous recoveries. But the nice thing about this plane is that it just poops credits. My God, 45,000 credits is actually a pretty big deal. So we're going to try and not equip gas to it this time, run one more game, and I think that'll wrap up first impressions. The armor-piercing incendiary is probably required to run on it simply because otherwise the guns just feel a little bit too weak. I'm going to actually I'm going to send this guy to the barracks, and we're going to bring in this dude. And the reason why is because this guy is the pilot that I got from this is the pilot that I got from beta. So you can see he already has a full crew skill and 85% of the next skill. By playing in beta, I got one pilot per nation that was that guy who had one full crew skill and 85% of the next skill. So that really helps. And we're going to try that one out. It looks like from the queue numbers we're going to get a tier 5 battle again, and this will be interesting. I really love Engine Guru. I think it is almost required on most planes. I really enjoy extra engine power. And so compared to the Spitfire 1, it looks like they are just better versions of me. This guy looks like he's fully upgraded. P40 we can outturn. We outclimb the Russian planes, outturn the German planes. Pretty standard stuff there. The problem is I'm not sure I can outturn something, or a correction, I'm not sure I can outclimb the Russian planes or the Japanese planes, so that's an initial assumption that I have to modify. I think with the regular Spitfires you probably could, but with the M20 I'm just going to outrun them in the horizontal. I'll show you what that looks like in this game. Alright, so we're counting down on Arctic region. And I'm going to Wolfpack just a little bit. Again, we have that wonderful cruising speed. I'm going to go to the top of my optimum altitude range, and I'm going to try to stay within it. I'm not going to try to climb outside it because, my God, it just loses speed in the climb. And so we're going to use boost in the horizontal, and we're going to get our cruising speed back above 450. There we go. The effect of Engine Guru and the aircraft polish is when you're going in a straight line, you do increase your speed greater than normal. So I wouldn't be surprised to creep up to 480-ish after a little while. Ooh, wow, look at that speed bleed when I turn. Alright, so the fight is everybody's kind of spread out. That's not unusual. And it looks like I'm going to float north just a little bit. This is the dangerous option. But we have enough teammates around where I won't be the only one. I'm not going to go after the 110B who's just ground attacking. That guy's useless. I'm probably going to go after these Spitfire 1s. The reason why is because if they get on my tail, I can't shake them. So I'm better off on their tail. That sounds like a better option to me. My team is dying already. This could be problematic. And we're going to high yo-yo. And bleed a ton of speed. Got kind of confused here. We're just going to do a hard turn because the A6M1 is so low in HP that it's okay to bleed some speed off once in a while. And like I said before, I am using the boost in the horizontal rather than the vertical. It's okay to bleed some speed off, especially if you're almost assured a kill. And here we're going to go head on... Don't ram. Thank you. So I set him on fire there. That was pretty good. High yo-yos are a little bit difficult with this plane, simply because, wow, I'm going to die to anti-aircraft fire. We're going to signal to my... No! So apparently the only thing I can do with this plane is just ram. Overall, I think the plane is relatively decent. It's quite the credit earner. I've obviously figured it out, so I went from the first couple of games to not dealing a whole lot of damage, being forced to ram, to this game where I did score 3 kills before I rammed a teammate in terrible fashion. So I think the idea for the plane is fairly simple, where you want to boost in the horizontal, you want to play it more of a turn fighter, don't pitch up into the vertical. Just don't do that. It's not really going to be worth it. It doesn't retain energy very well at all. The guns, you want to start firing around 400 meters, 500 meters, you're just not going to damage anything. So initially, I think it's a very interesting plane, very wonderful credit earner, and I'm looking forward to doing a review on it a little bit later. Again, thank you to Lewis Lit for the gift. I appreciate it a lot. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.